Attention, please pay attention to this news. This news broke out this morning and has been making rounds, especially in the Nigeria educational space. This news was casted by the cable. Of course, several other news giants have carried it, but our source for this particular news is the cable. And it says, LASU wants staff, students to avoid Iba community during Oro Festival rites. LASU, that's the administrators of LASU, which will include the VC. They've warned staff and students to avoid Iba community, which is around the area of the Lagos State University, which is what LASU stands for, to avoid Iba community during festival rites. I want to give you a little tips and bits and the whole comprising story of this. So if you're a Lagos resident, you want to watch this and learn. Now, this news was casted this morning, August 25th. Around 9 a.m. it broke out. Now, let's see. The Lagos University LASU has issued a safety advisory. Like you have been advised. They have advised students and staff to shun the area of the Iba community because there is an Oro that is currently ongoing. In fact, the Oro started today. Now, this is a usual festival rites that will often happen when a king dies or when a new monarch is enthroned. Let's see more details on this news. It's often is something like this, very cultural, very traditional, including some diabolical powers. Diabolical powers are always involved. Now, what's the schedule of this Oro Festival? According to a statement signed by the LASU Deputy Registrar, Oluwayemisi, the university received communications from the palace of Dr. Sulaiman Adeshina. So the Oba of that Iba community even happens to be a PhD holder, a doctor. Good. The Oniba of Iba Kingdom, in conjunction with community chiefs and elders, received that letter, probably during the weekends. Letter regarding what? The Oro Festival. So the Oro rites, which is a popular thing, tradition in many Yoruba states or many Yoruba communities, although due to modernization and civilization, some of these things are passing away, but yet it's still heavily contested in many Yoruba communities. So the Oro rites will take place over 9 days, beginning from today, like I said before, with significant observance scheduled for, let's see the schedule. Starts today, like I said, Monday, up until Friday, August 29. This is the days where it will be held significantly. Doesn't mean that it stops outrightly, but for these 5 days, there will be significant march of masquerades, of chiefs, of priests, and sprinkling around the community and its environs. Now, it will happen both days between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. in the morning, daytime. Okay, let's see more details on this. What is the Oro Festival? If you're not a Yoruba person or you don't live in Yoruba areas, you might not know what it is. Now, the Oro Festival, known in Yoruba as Oro, is a traditional religious event celebrated by male natives of some Yoruba communities under strict, notice that, strict cultural protocols. Now, it venerates or celebrates Orisha Oro, like God, their God, is an idol worship, associated with communal justice and spiritual order. Please take note of this important part. Only male descendants are allowed to participate. That's only male descendants of that Yoruba community. In other words, in this case, of the Iba community, descendants, not residents, not visitors, are allowed to participate. It's like a festival. Women, non-natives, and children of certain age must stay indoor. Not that they will not even participate or they are not even allowed to be outside. They must be indoor. And when they are indoor, they are not peeping. Good. Now let's see more. The festival often features secretive procession. It's very diabolical. There is a lot of blood and chants and dance an incantation, an invocation, accompanied by distinctive high-pitched sounds. Yes, those who live in such Yoruba communities know what I'm saying right now, especially those oros that are done in the middle of the night. You hear that loud cry, like the cry of a wolf, something like that, believed to herald the presence of the Oro deity. It's kind of used to draw that spirit. It's being used to pull the spirit that we saw before, Orisha Oro, to that community, believed maybe to bring protection and prosperity. All right, let's see more. Yes, so this is what you are going to be seeing, something like this, especially those who live in Iba community right now. But many Lagos residents are not also going to be shocked by this because they see it often. Lagos, Ogun State residents. Now, it's typically held where significant events occur, like the death or enthronement of a monarch, like we've established before. So that's how they actually dress. Now, what are the dangers of disobeying this festival? If you go out or you are caught in that festival or you find yourself there, what are the dangers? One, there is often spiritual beliefs of fatal consequences. According to Yoruba tradition, anyone, especially women, who sees the Oro while outside could suffer lethal consequences. Some might have their womb held, meaning they might not be able to give birth to children. Okay, I've heard of some. Either they are superstition or not remains to be told. Some people die on the spot. Some begin to vomit blood. All kinds of negative stuff. Now, there's even a popular saying that if a woman lays eyes on Oro, Oro will take her away. You see, it's in quotes. It's said in Yoruba. It's a Yoruba kind of chant. So that's one of the beliefs. Then what about the real life tragedies and violence? Of course, in Lagos, touts will begin to use it as an opportunity to loot properties. Tragically, these beliefs have manifested in violent incidents. It's true. And then there's a case of a Hausa woman in 1999 who was killed for violating the stay-at-home directive. Even I know of several cases too. Okay, either they are rumors or true, remains to be investigated. Several people were killed or burnt alive, okay, because they violated that directive. Okay, look at that. Triggering widespread unrest and at least 50 to 66 fatalities. So you see that. Then there's exploitation during curfews. So many times some miscreants use it as an opportunity to break into people's home, and of course touts will often find their way around some of these traditions and cultural events and use it to their own misdeeds. Okay, so let's move forward. So what was the directive that was given by the LASU admin to students, which is what really concerns us? To safeguard the well-being of members of the LASU community living within Iba and its environs, the university now made these directives. 1. All staff and students must avoid unnecessary movement in the Iba community during the specified hours. Not just the Iba community or not just the LASU university students. Even you yourself, if you live within the Lagos axis or if you live in Yoruba areas, whenever you hear of Oro, it's better to be careful. 2. All academic, administrative, and personal activities should be arranged outside the festival time frame, which is outside at, let's say, 9 to about 12 noon. Okay? Whatever you want to do it afterwards. Then, 3. Everyone is expected to remain law-abiding, cautious, and compliant with the directive. Okay? Now, let's see more. Number 4 now. Alright. Now, don't forget that during this season, examinations are currently ongoing in LASU, which some of the exams are even fixed for the time of this Oro. So what will now happen? So the administrators of LASU, alongside the elders and the monarch of Iba, are sat together to come to a good construction on how one can go for one. This notice comes while LASU students are currently sitting for their exam, which began last week, August 18. The management reassured students that measures are in place to ensure their safety and smooth conduct of exams during this festival period. Okay. Now, what is the conclusion of this? LASU management expressed appreciation for the cooperation of students and staff and urged the community to remain vigilant, law-abiding, and supportive. So for LASU, the message is clear. Keep yourself safe. And this is also the message for all Lagos residents and those who live in Yoruba communities. When you hear of festival as this, especially the Oro Festival, it's good to stay away from it. Yes, it's no longer as pronounced as it used to be. As civilization continues to come up, it may still take another 1 to 2 generations before a lot of these things completely is eradicated. Okay? Culture, it is called. So, but for now, stay away from it and keep your head inside your house. Now, some thoughts. How do we balance tradition and modernity? Authorities, dialogue between tradition and modernity. Authorities, traditional leaders, and universities must engage in constructive dialogue. We're not saying completely scrap cultural activities or cultural events, but when it crosses and fights or collides with modernity, and how do we manage it? How do we make sure that one does not affect the other? So authorities must sit together with traditional leaders and come about constructive dialogue to ensure that education is not disrupted. Otherwise, we remain far back, we remain years back, whereas we are wanting to compete with schools like Yale, Harvard. But how do we compete with them when things as this is limiting the growth or the prosperity, the freedom of education, or the freedom of movement? 2, reforms. Festivals like Oro could be scheduled at night or weekends. We know many Yoruba communities do this at night or weekends. I'm not sure why this one has to happen in daytime. Of course, it's not unusual, some to happen in daytime. So they could also be scheduled after school hours, probably in the evening, reducing clashes with academic and civic activities. All right? Legal and civil protection, which is where I'm going to stop. City and state governments should ensure that religious cultural practices do not override public law and constitutional freedom. Let's not forget that in the constitutional freedom of the United Nations, all human beings have the freedom of movement anywhere they want to go at any time they want to go. So any cultural practice or rule regarding from a state, from a monarch, or from a particular set of people that infringes on this can be said to be infringing or abusing the human rights of another person, which can be defied, or defended in any court of law. Now, this is how we have it for the little update for Lagosians and Lagos students. To practice a lot of past questions and prepare yourself for your pursuit here into LASU, we have made videos for you. Mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, and several other videos. You can share them to other persons, your friends or colleagues, if you are not planning on writing pursuit here. Thank you for watching this video with us. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.